From the Watergate Building in Washington, this is Hotline TV. Now, here's Hotline editor, John Mercurio.
Welcome to Hotline TV. I'm Amy Walter.
And I'm John Mercurio. Every day Americans are plagued by certain things which, despite their best attempts, just never go away. Things like spam mail, Ryan Seacrest, and persistent skin rashes just have an odd way of sticking around.
Yeah, I have this other rash. Candidates also have certain sorts of rashes.
Sure.
Yeah, for them, it's the stories that just won't die, the ones they leave on the side of the road screaming in the middle of the night and still turn up the next morning on their doorsteps in the form of the New York Times. That's a lot of mixed metaphors, but you know what? This story is so funny, we're going to keep going with it. So, let's start discussing some of those painful rashes.
This is, of course, one of our favorite segments, which involves the Velcro board, which we like to bring up.
Very high tech.
Very high tech. Of course, the top being the unhappy face, which is the diseases that actually make these candidates really break out, and the bottom being the happy face, where
it's not quite as bad.
Not as bad. Yeah.
All right. So, what do you want to start with?
Please.
Let's start with this rescoitis.
Rescoitis,
which also goes hand in hand. Some people, Democrats seem to have rescoitis. For Republicans, it's been caricepsy.
Caricepsy.
Yeah.
I think it's pronounced caricepsy.
What the Latin term is what I do know, but I can't remember it.
Of course, Obama suffering from probably the worst case of rescoitis, and Giuliani.
All right, so what do we want to say about the Democrats? Obviously, this is the this is really a Chicago-centered scandal that both Hillary Clinton and Obama find themselves
what's
in.
interesting, I think, is that this is the story that hasn't, the actual terms of this scandal, if you will, or this rash, haven't changed that dramatically throughout the course of this presidential campaign. It's just sort of different media organizations are sort of reintroducing this story for different pools of voters. So, but I think it does continue to plague Obama at sort of an ankle-biting level.
Yeah, see, I just think it's really low. Look, the bottom line is, when he decided, well, first of all, this guy Resco seems to have more context than Friendster. Okay, everybody somehow knows who this guy is. So any money you raise out of Chicago is somehow going to be related to somebody's relationship with this guy. So anytime you raise money there, his name's going to come up. Obama's decided anytime there's that question that's arising, I'm going to give that money back.
Return the money, exactly.
It's fine, but it just means that every day there's going to be a return the money story. But I agree with you. I don't think it's quite as important. Caricepsy, on the other hand, I think that's a lot more serious,
well,
right?
and it goes to what we've talked about before, which is that Giuliani's one of the key messages that he's trying to send is that elect me because I'm strong on national security, and I think that the Bernie Kerik story sort of goes to the question as to whether or not that's true.
Yeah, mob ties, etc. Not really a good story when you're trying to be tough on.
John Sullivan at the Washington Post doing a lot of big stories on that. All right, we can move on.
Temper shock syndrome. I've heard you've had a little bit of that with the cable person.
I have had some issues with the cable person recently. But look, John McCain, people do not want to elect a person that they think has sort of an unbalanced temperament. John McCain has shown recent flashes of that.
Do we think anybody really sees this, though? Get outside of the Beltway for a minute.
No, not yet.
Do we know that? And where is that going to show up?
This is the YouTube election. You're going to have somebody who finds him snapping at some voter. I'm putting it below caricepsy, but
but somewhere in
up there.
In there. All right, Hema haircuts, which I have a Hema haircut right now, and it is a real problem. I got to call and do something about that. All right, look, we talked about this the other week, but this is the John Edwards haircut problem, which I think it's just says anything. It goes right up here, don't you think?
It does go up there because unfortunately I don't think, if you trace back sort of where Edwards has gone in the campaign over the past month or two, the haircut story was really the beginning of the end for John Edwards. And he's not over, maybe I shouldn't say the end, but certainly the beginning of sort of a downward trend.
Well, and again, it keeps going back to this question that if you're going to be able to run as this populist, the son of a mill worker, being a millionaire makes it that much more complicated. So
I'm going to take this one, rock star phobia. I really don't think there's anything negative about, at least so far, for the candidates like Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama, who were considered rock stars in this campaign. Look, at this point, I won't say they've surpassed expectations, but the fact that they draw so much attention is only causing trouble for the other Democrats in the race. You see Joe Biden, Bill Richardson, Chris Dodd all complaining that they're not getting enough attention, and that's because
lack of oxygen phobia.
Right.
or lack of oxygenitis or something.
That's an
is
excellent
the
name.
real.
That's an excellent name.
Yeah, appendicitis. This is, will you show up? This is always the question about for senators, right? How many votes are you going to miss? How important is that going to be on the campaign trail? The people who keep getting hit with it the most are those same people who really are having trouble breaking through, interestingly enough, because obviously they need to be on the road more to raise money and to get out there and try to get support. So, you know, I think it's kind of down here for
It's one of those, you know, appendicitis is one of those stories that is only sort of circulated by people who are already partisans, already part of another campaign. You know, if you're somebody working for Tommy Thompson, you're going to criticize John McCain for the fact that he's not showing up for votes, or Sam Brownback, or Joe Biden. But as far as your actual undecided voter, I don't think it makes that much of a difference.
Yeah. Plus, it's easy to really deflate these things. You always say something like this: I've gotten an A for showing up for votes. 93%. That's an A.
I'd rather be out talking to you people.
Exactly. Even if it means that you missed a lot of votes, but you still have 93% attendance record, that's what you focus on instead.
Well, we're running out of time, but Mormon pox, of course, is something that we have to address. The ongoing sort of, I don't even know if it's trouble, but the ongoing issue of Mitt Romney's religion. He said over the weekend, last weekend, that he sort of regrets the fact that his religion has become such a part of the campaign. So far, I don't think he or his campaign has sort of worked out a message for how they want to respond to it.
Right.
But then neither have his Republican opponents. You know,
Right,
they're all
just keep
sort of
hoping that
dancing
it's
around whether or not they think it's relevant. So I'm putting it down here for
Yeah,
now.
I mean,
That
I
could
think
change.
it's somewhere around here. The question really is, we know, looking at the polling, that it is an issue for Republican primary voters where they do feel some reticence about supporting a candidate who's a Mormon. At the same time, the more that this story gets discussed, the more that it looks like people are picking on Mitt Romney for his religion. Doesn't that help him look more sympathetic?
Or
And so
does
there
it
may
just sort
backfire.
of keep the
the
fact
story
that he's
alive?
Mormon in
All
there?
right.
All right, but that's all for today. I feel like I need to go bathe in Neosporin. Ouch.
Yeah, and I need to call my doctor. This rash
Yes.
isn't going
Not
away.
have a haircut.
Yeah.
I've got one myself. We've got to do something about that. We'll see you next time on Hotline TV.